Hi all, welcome to TechFest Java. In this video, we are discussing about one of the Java 8 features, default method in interfaces. What is the significance of default method in interfaces, and why in Java 8 default method in interfaces introduced? Basically, when we are defining any default method in interfaces, the default signifies like public. So the accessibility of that method would be in all the classes which are implementing that interfaces. So if suppose we are defining one interface, I'm going to define one interface. For demonstrating this, I am just taken a simple Java project, and in that I have taken one main class which having a main method. So here I am going to define one interface. Suppose that interface is basically named as default method demo, and in this method I am going to define one public void this is one abstract method, and then I'm going to define one default method that would be public string display hello, and it will simply return hello. Okay, so this is the overall signature of default method. We need to define the access specifier as a default, and then we are putting whatever the return type we want to put, and then method name, and then the definition of the method. Now this is the one interface. Now I'm going to create a implementing class for this. Suppose that I have created a class taking a name something like if this, and I'm going to implement the class with default interface. Now here, if we can see, we can give the body of this, and here what we am doing, I am simply calling this display hello, and it will basically printing message. Now let's run this code. So to execute this method, first we have to create this class object. So how do we create this class object? We use this interface reference, and then we are using new operator to create an object of this class. Okay, now I'm going to call two methods. One is for message, which is basically implemented over here. Okay, and one is I'm going to call display hello, and this method I'm going to print whatever the string it is returning. Simply I'm putting this in system.out.println. Okay, now what I did, I have created one interface where I have taken one abstract method, and in that interface I have created one default method. Default methods definition would be having access specifier as default, then return type, and then whatever the method name we want, and then definition of that method. We have created one implementing class for this, and we have implemented the abstract method. We didn't get created any definition for this display hello world. Now we have created one object of this implementing class, give the reference within the interface, and with this reference I am calling one abstract method and also calling an default method. So let's execute this code. Okay, now you can see here where we have printed this statement. We have printed this statement in message, which is basically an abstract method of interface which is implemented by this implementing class. And this display hello, we didn't provided any body over here, right? But it is defined in interface itself, and we can use from implementing class by just calling. So main purpose of defining a default method in interfaces are basically to provide the backward compatibility. Suppose in this class, now I'm for demonstrating the backward compatibility, suppose that I'm going to create one more method, one more implementing class. I'm taking this as a name 1, and here I am putting as 1. Okay, now I'm just copy pasting this class again and taking the name as 2, and here I'm putting as 1, and here I'm putting as 2. And now suppose this class, right, this class needs one more method which is basically used to print word, so that our statement would be completed as hello world. Now for that, right, either we will define one method over here, or we have to define one abstract method over here like message 1. If we define abstract method over here, this class will be breaking. Why? Because now this class will asking for implement this unimplemented method, which is basically message one. So without making changes in this class, we cannot use this message one. Basically message one is required in class 2, but we cannot use it until and unless we will not do the changes in class 1 itself, but class 1 doesn't require this method. So to overcome such issues, what they have defined a default method. Now how to overcome this issue? Now if I will define one more default method in this, display word, and I will just return over here word. Now interface provided one more default method, and that default method is not using by demo1, this implementing class 1, but it is required to call by the implementing class 2. So what we will do, we will simply call this method. Now what implementing class 2 wants, when they will call the message class, it should print that hello world, but here it wants only a hello printing. So if we run this code, okay, we didn't call this method, right? So let's just create one more object for this. I'm removing this. No, we are creating one more, this, and then this, and then I'm creating this as 1 and this reference as 2 for better understanding. Now I would run this code. Now we can see that by calling this which having a object of this class, we are getting a message as hello, and with implementing class 2 reference, we are getting an object class as, and for printing a word in implementing class 2, we don't require to make any changes in class 1. So that kind of backward compatibility it is providing. Okay, so if now in future if I want to create one more implementing class for this, and that requires is to print something like hello world TechFest Java by passing an reference name as a string, and wherever we will pass that name, and it will print that hello world and the name of that which we passing, something like that. So for that we don't require to make a change over here in this class and over in implementing class 1 and 2. Why? Because that doesn't want this kind of functionality to print like hello world TechFest Java or something, right? But this is the demand of third class implementation. So for that we don't require to make any changes in this class and this class, just because it is interface provided default method. We will define one more default method which will take some parameter and display that message. So this way default method is basically providing the backward compatibility, and in Java 8 when we are basically defining the functional interfaces and lambda expressions, at that time in collection classes they found that to provide the backward compatibility there are some default method is required. So that's why they put the default method concept over here, and then why not it is using for other interfaces also. So they have defined like this. Now there is one more concept called diamond issue which occurs. So to demonstrate that issue, I am just taking an example of only one implementing class. Okay, so I am removing this. Now I am going to create one more interface. So I am taking this interface as one, and similarly I am going to create one more interface that is having similar kind of method names, demo2. Now as we know that in Java 8 or in Java basically we can implement more than one interfaces for a particular class. So now we are going to implement this method, this interface also. Now what is happening? Why it is giving error? This is giving error because it is saying that there is a duplicate default method display word with the parameter this and this inherited in demo2 and demo1. Okay, so this second line would be this and display hello also there. Why? Because there is a ambiguity produced. Now here this demo1 class is not able to define that either they should use this method, this interface methods, or either they should use this interface method. Why? Because both interfaces default method definitions are present here and their method names are same, right? So to overcome this kind of issue, right, either we would need to go and do changes in this method names. Now this will resolve, but this we can't do, right, because this interface might be used by some other classes also which is implementing, so we cannot make a changes in interfaces. So what we do to overcome this issue? So for that we have to define the same name methods over here and overriding the definition whatever we want. Something like, I'm just trying to copy paste here. Giving as public. That's it. Now this issue resolved because now the demo1 class knows that we have to use this method which are defined in class, not in interfaces. So either if I wanted to use this one or this one, we can easily use this or like this. So this is the diamond issue and how we overcome to this by defining those interface methods, default methods within the class itself. So what is by doing this is basically hiding these definitions over this. So now if I would run this code, and I am just trying to, I will take it as this one as 2 to demonstrate better that which display method is going to be print. Now if I would run this code again, where is that error? Oh, here is the, okay, now it's resolved. Now if I run this code, see, we can see that this hello method message printed, not this one hello 2, not this one hello 1. When we are calling message, and in message what we have defined that call the display hello. So that's it for this default method in interfaces concept, and in next video we will try to discuss upon the static method in interfaces. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and likes and comment. Thank you.